Well, after the fight, they asked Tyson what he thought of the Jake Paul fight and everything else like that. And he said it was great. He said he feels that it rejuvenated the sport because what he said, and Zab Judah agreed with this when I spoke to him, but I'm going to ask you the same question, is that Tyson said that boxing is a dying sport compared to UFC.
I absolutely agree. I mean, it's
really
obvious. It's obvious.
Okay.
It's obvious.
Why do you think that is?
Well, one reason is all the goddamn belts. Big. I mean, that's a real big reason. A lack of
belts in boxing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's three main belts, right?
Yeah, but UFC. It's like it's reigning supreme. It's not a whole. There's UFC, Bellator. And then you got to try to figure out who else there is.
There's the backyard stuff.
Right, yeah. So that's one thing. It helps you when it's condensed into one myopic union of something. But WBA, WBC, WBO, all that kind of stuff is hard. And then it's like you got to promote, and it's a personality thing. It's a lack of personalities there. Who do you get behind? Who makes you want to watch? I mean, hey, Conor McGregor was a freaking like comet. Somebody like that, look what he did. Like the people like Kimbo Slice and Randy Couture. There are certain people with these personas that you lock into. But boxing right now doesn't really have.
Yeah, I mean you got Tyson Fury.
And you could argue that he's got the marketing
WBC belt.
His marketing arm could be a lot bigger.
Yeah, I don't really know very much about him.
Yeah, they're not doing him justice because that is a wonderful
big Hulk and white.
I think he's a great personality. He's a wonderful human being. They're doing him a disservice not letting everybody know who he is.
Doing more interviews and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think people should know about Tyson Fury.
Right. I mean, Anthony Joshua also has some belts right now.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Ruiz Jr., he was around in 2019. He has some belts.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at these names, Manuel Char, Joseph Parker, Ruslan Chagaev, like,
yeah,
these are not Tyson, Holyfield,
right, man,
Larry Holmes, like these monolithic figures.
There's a lot of these cats, man. Like I think with the Klitschko's and everything, it was like the rise of these athletes who were not real fighters. In my opinion, they were athletes. They were athletes who taught how to box. Yeah. They weren't fighters from the heart. And there's something about you got to sell people through your eyes, man. People around the world lock in on personalities. And, it's like there wasn't a whole lot of personality there.
I mean, Zab feels that UFC is a lot more violent, and that's more of a draw.
Now, obviously. I mean, it's like the only game in town, really, in a way. So there's a whole bunch of personalities that they cultivated. They had that tough, the Ultimate Fighter, which was a great branding thing. Because you think about like all of these people, like these, it's nonstop. Whether it be, I mean, they were growing stars from the Ultimate Fighter thing. Mm-hmm. Like. I mean, it's too many to name really. It's like, and I'm having problems on names today. But the Forrest Griffins, all of these people that you didn't know, but then they put their personalities out there and put them in a like a real world, like a MTV real world setting, and had them fight. And you picked your sides, and then those became the stars of the next year. Right. And they just kept doing that.
Well, I mean, historically, boxing has been about the heavyweights. Like, the fact that Mayweather has been the biggest star in boxing for
Mhm.
such a long time is really very much an anomaly.
Yeah, and it's
You know,
it's a nod to Mayweather. He
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
and you've had these middleweight stars like the Sugar Ray Robinsons of the world, and
Mhm.
you've had the Pernell Whitakers, but usually they are second tier to whoever the heavyweight
This
champ
is
is.
true. This is true. Like I say, I feel like it got ruined with the heavyweight athletes
Yeah.
who were just, doing what they were taught to do and then tie you up, doing everything just to win a match. And people was just like, they ain't into that. They want
They want a
somebody to
knockout.
die on their shield. They want somebody that's driven in another way, driven because they want to be the best, not just because they wanted to win. But we had a long thing of Klitschko's where these guys were just out there winning.
And it was boring.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
the Klitschko era to me, I thought was boring. I thought both
Yeah.
him and his brother just were boring fighters.
But I mean,
You can't compare him to like an Ali.
Well, Emmanuel Stewart was smart in the way where with Lennox Lewis, he brought him up that way, very carefully.
Yeah.
Big man, use your reach, tie him up, start again. And so it's no coincidence that guy became Klitschko's trainer. So he his same success he had with Lennox, he kept going, and Emmanuel Stewart was behind the top heavyweights for what 2 decades or something. That's kind of what ran that.
I mean, yeah, I actually looked it up. The heavyweight, boxing champions started back in 1885.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first guy, John L. Sullivan.
Oh yeah.
Defeated Dominic McCaffrey.
Yeah, but
1885.
I ain't going all the way back. I'm talking about when it got boring. When it got boring.
I mean, it just shows the historical significance of this sport.
Oh, yeah.
This is such a, football, basketball, all that pales in comparison to boxing.
Yeah. But I keep saying it comes down to personalities, man. Like, when Lennox Lewis, who was a really beautiful person, I hated him at first because I didn't know him. I hated him because he used to talk about himself in the third person. Yeah, he can't stand up to Lennox Lewis raw hand. I was like, who is this dude? I couldn't stand him, right? And then I ran into him in Toronto, and I was like, I was in a pool room, and he was a friend of my friends, and I was like cold shouldering this cat. I was like, I can't stand this dude, man. And he came up. He was the nicest human being on the planet. I was like, oh my God, this guy is so cool. He was so cool. But I was like, but it's kind of like at the time in his reign, you go, Lennox Lewis, who is he? You don't really know. He's just this guy. He's like
he was a big, strong, athletic guy.
Right, but you
did well in the ring.
And he was super intelligent.
He wasn't a killer,
which does not translate very well
into boxing.
And then, I mean, he was a total gentleman. This is what he is, total gentleman. And you got the Klitschko brothers. What do you lock in on them? They're like robots. It's like, how you gonna love a robot? So it just was like there's a long time with no personality, and we had a bunch of heavyweights that were unimpressive.